Hello everyone and welcome to this Tech Ability webinar on Read and Write literacy support. Lucky enough to be joined today with Patrick McGrath, Head of Education Strategy from Texthelp. Hi Paddy.
Hey Neil, how are you today?
Yeah, good, thanks, good. And yeah, you'll be taking us through the literacy support element of Texthelp after we've already covered Equatio, which is more on the kind of maths reader side of things.
Yeah, I'm going to be looking at Read and Write and then going to see how we can take some of the skills that a lot of people maybe know about in Read and Write and also apply those in a PDF environment and on the web as well. We want to talk about literacy everywhere really throughout the next, I suppose, 30-35 minutes today, Neil, and hopefully we'll have time for a few questions as we go.
Yeah, great. I'll pick up the questions in the chat, so feel free if you've got any, especially if you've got any specific students or learners that you want to talk about. We'll see if we can pick that up at the end.
Perfect. Okay. Do you mind if I go ahead and share the screen, Neil? Is that okay?
And
we'll get started here today. Let us see. So let's just jump in. We should all really be fairly automated at a Zoom screen sharing right now, but I don't know about any of you. I still feel like I'm doing it for the first time, even though we've all done it about 1,000 times at this stage. But look, you're very welcome, and thanks to Neil and the team at NatSpec Tech Ability for having me here today. It's my pleasure to spend the next 30-35 minutes just talking about all things literacy, I suppose. And just so you're aware, some of the things that happened for us this year, Texthelp is now known as the Texthelp Group. So we also own and sell products from Claro as well, WizKids in terms of assistive technology, Lexible, Global Autocorrect. So those are all now firmly and squarely within the Texthelp family. But we are, of course, going to be looking at Read and Write today. So as Neil introduced me there, thank you very much for that introduction, Neil. Some things changed for me this year, and it's not that any major changes, but you find a lot of people online call me Paddy. Very stereotypical Irish thing to do. So my slide has changed now. So if I flip between Paddy and Patrick when you're talking to me at any future stage, it is indeed one and the same person. And as Neil said, I'm Head of Education Strategy at Texthelp. And my job really there is to go and have a very close look at the products that we have, things like Read and Write and Equatio, as Neil mentioned, and figure out and explain the best and most practical uses of those from a teaching and learning perspective. And I do that across Europe, Middle East, and Africa. So we do have a wonderful team. There's far more people than me there in Texthelp that can help you with anything. So if you see anything today you need more resources on, you need more help with, you'd like an explainer video on, or you'd like to figure out how you can get the software installed, just reach out on that email address, and hopefully Neil will share those contact details after today as a follow-up. And by all means, give me a follow on Twitter for some helpful tips and tricks as we go. So that's me. So let's think about the products that we're going to look at today. And we're really going to look at one, but it's going to be split down into 3 areas, because I think the important thing is, as I said at the outset, literacy everywhere is really, really important. There's no point in taking you through a tool and going, well, that's only useful if your students are using Microsoft Word, or they're using Google Docs, or if they're using PowerPoint. What happens when they get on a web page? What happens when they get that long PDF textbook that we want them to help comprehend, understand, and make accessible? And Read and Write is going to work across all of those areas. So we're going to talk today about how we can use Read and Write for supporting reading, writing, comprehension. We're going to look at briefly, just due to the time today, organization and study. How can we gather some notes together before we read an essay? How can we add revision notes, perhaps by voice rather than relying on typing? And then how can we use the same tools and the same supports that we might need, like text-to-speech or perhaps a screen mask, in exams? So we'll very briefly touch upon that just at the very end. So think about what you're going to see today. First and foremost is how we might use this in Microsoft Word and all the Office tools, how we might use it in Google Docs and all the Google tools, how we might use it on the internet, on the web, through any browser. And then we'll be looking at how we might use that on PDF as well. And of course, it goes even further than that, because all of these tools will give you literacy support within things like Google Classroom or in Blackboard or in Moodle, whatever learning environment we as students or as educators are using will ensure that it works there. And whatever device our students are using, it'll work there as well. So if we have a student using an Apple Mac, or they're using a Microsoft device, PC, or they're using a Chromebook, or they're using an iPad, we want to give them the same literacy support no matter where they go. And what's important about that is we want to provide that consistently. So it looks the same, it behaves the same, and it gives them exactly the same support. So as they move from college, school, university through to home, they can get exactly the same consistent experience. So think about Literacy Central and think about how that works everywhere. If you haven't seen Read&Write before, simplest way to explain this is it's a toolbar. It's going to sit right where our students are learning, and it's going to give them an extra set of buttons that they can use for accessibility, for reading, for writing, for study, for organization. So they can use these tools as they need to use these tools, or in ways that support them either from an individual perspective or a more general perspective with study. So they're all there in one place. And I would say at the outset, there's no suggestion that any student uses all of these tools. That's not the case. But we need to provide students with a maximum range of tools so they can approach learning and support in a way that might actually suit them. And we're going to spend our little bit of hands-on time going through those. Once we do that, we're also going to jump into the, I'll call it the sister or brother of Read&Write, and it's called OrbitNote. And the simplest way to think about this is, if you have, as a school, college, university, a Read&Write subscription and you have access to the tool, you've also got OrbitNote. That just comes with Read&Write. And that gives your students and yourself all of the accessibility tools and some additional tools like freehand drawing and voice note making on PDFs. Really, really important for accessibility, but equally for study. So we're going to see that in the second section of this short run today. Before I look at some hands-on pieces, and I'm just going to jump straight in to look at some of the tools themselves, I do want you to think carefully about the line that I have on screen at this moment in time. And we like to think of Read&Write as necessary for some and useful for all. So I want you to think about the specifics of some of the students that you might work with. Think about how they could benefit from the tools I'm going to show you. Think about how that could move between various levels of literacy. I'm going to look at something that's round about a Key Stage 5 level document, sits somewhere in the middle of study. But the same tools that I'm going to show you are useful across the board, no matter what level of literacy we're at, no matter what challenges we might have. But also think about how students that might necessarily not have an obvious specific need or challenge might find the same tools just as useful. Things like text-to-speech are useful across the board. And really, we want to think about the tools that we're talking about today in this regard. So what we want to do is just jump straight into hands-on, because it's one thing me talking about it and showing you a super fancy slide deck, but it's another thing just having a look at the tool itself. So I'm going to go into, in this case, a Google document. Now remember, the same tools will be available if I'm using Microsoft Word Online, or I'm using Microsoft Word on a desktop, or I'm using any of the Microsoft or Google suite. The same experience for students exists. The same buttons, the same features, laid out in exactly the same way. So just because I'm using Google today, don't think that if you're using a Windows machine, you won't have access to these. You will indeed. So this is, as I said, this is a Key Stage 4 piece. So this is a piece of English literature. And I use this quite regularly to kind of look at a middle point of reading and writing, and a piece that we might indeed have to understand first and foremost, and then have to express ourselves in as well. So if I think about the Read&Write toolbar, students are going to see this purple puzzle piece just at the top of the screen. That means this document is ready to go and to be supported by Read&Write. It's a nice, fast way to encourage students to use Read&Write. Look for the purple puzzle piece. If it's there, click it, and now we have access to all the features. So things that Read&Write is known for, pretty obviously, okay? Text-to-speech. So there's some things we can do with text-to-speech here. We can, of course, place our cursor and press play.
The story of Dracula is told in epistolary form.
Now, that'll give us text-to-speech in the way that we need it read out loud. But what you'll see there also is dual highlighting. So as I press play,
The story of Dracula is told in epistolary form.
You'll see that dual highlighting. Sentence is yellow, word is in blue. So that's going to help me with comprehension because it's pacing through the word and highlighting the sentence. The purpose in text-to-speech always is to help to aid cognitive load and improve cognitive load, and to help us make sure that we're helping our students understand the content and spend less time decoding the actual words on the page. So in terms of dyslexia, that's a very, very, very important tool that we can use. Now, we can also change that. So if pupils and students need to change that, they can change that into a regional accent. If they're reading a piece in Arabic or they're reading a piece in Spanish, they can change it to the voice that suits that particular piece. So wherever, on whatever language is needed within that document, whatever suits the student, they can change that around, of course. They can change the speed. They can turn it on to continuous read so they can sit back and listen to the whole piece read, or they can also use the same features to speak back as they type. So I'm going to flick that on just for a second, and I'm going to show you that in a minute or two from now. So I'm going to OK that. So I've now got that text to speech. So I know it's there. That's going to help me with understanding. It's going to help me check answers and reread questions. What else could I do with text to speech? Well, this piece here, okay, for example, that's all standard accessible text. So if I were to press play there,
The story of Dracula is told in epistolary.
I can have that read out loud. So we know that already. What about this though? This is an image. This is not accessible. So if I need some help with this, how on earth am I going to get that read out loud? Well, Read&Write has a thing called Screenshot Reader. So Screenshot Reader up here, I can click it. And now I can drag over that text, which remember is not accessible. No screen reader is going to read that out loud. I can't get help with it. I need it to be accessible, okay? And if I let go, all that's going to happen is my OCR engine is going to kick in.
Some people whose lives have no fears, no dreads,
and it will read that out loud. So that could be from a diagram, from a screen grab of a quote. It could be a resource that somebody has taken and is not made accessible. I now have accessibility. I also have the ability to click the copy button here, and I'll copy that text to clipboard and let me paste it into a document. So now I have the text not only accessible, but I've got it editable, so I could change the font or I could change the spacing to help me, and I could place that differently in the document. And when I'm done, I can just close that down. So other things we could do with text to speech. What about this? I could take all this text, and I could just do a Control A, and I could just have that all selected. But what I can do is I can turn my entire document to aid my understanding of this document and turn it into an audiobook. So I can take this and I can hit the audiobook piece right here, just up the top. And in just a few seconds, that's going to turn that into an audiobook. That means that the resource now that perhaps I was using text to speech with to help me with understanding is now a full audiobook. I can send that to a mobile phone or a tablet device. I could plug headphones in and turn the screen off if I wanted to reduce screen time. If I wanted to help me focus on the words without any visuals, I could do that by just playing back that MP3 file. I could do pages and pages and pages, or a single paragraph, and it's going to inherit all the voice pieces that I've actually put in place before. So this will give me all of the tools I might need from a text-to-speech perspective. So what else could I use this for? What about helping me as I read? So here's a new word, and I have no idea what this word actually means. So I can highlight the word, and it's going to help me with this word. So I'll click a dictionary. Now I have a dictionary definition of this word. I need to hear that read out loud. How do I pronounce this word?
epistolary,
How do I understand that word better?
adjective, written in form or carried on by a method.
Okay, so now I can have that read out loud. And remember, the speed, etc., in which that works is inherited by my options that you saw earlier. But I can also have a picture dictionary, and I can open the picture dictionary. And now I have access to an image. Now there is no image for this particular word, okay? But what I can do to help my literacy in this piece is leave both of those boxes on the screen. Now, if I leave both of those boxes on the screen, and now I start to go down through this document, perhaps I need to know that word journal, okay? And I'm not sure what the word journal is. If I just click it or highlight it, I'll get the dictionary definition on the left. I'll get the picture reference on the right. Let's see whether Dracula's in here. And I don't actually know if Dracula's in here or not. but Dracula is in here. And now I click on the word Dracula and it will give me a picture reference for Dracula and tie into that word. So as I go through all of the words that I may need help with on this screen, it's going to give me a dictionary definition and a picture reference as well. So that's going to help me as I go through and read this, because as I'm skipping through or having it read out loud, I can skip on any word as I go and I can get some help and support. Those are standard at widget symbols. Those widget symbols I can drag directly into documents. So if I need a visual prompt directly against any of the words there on screen to help me with a prompt, I can do that and just drag it directly into the document. So what else could we do? Well, I'll take these ones. In fact, I'll leave those ones off for just a little second. And I'll go down to some typing here for a minute.
Paddy,
and yeah,
just a quick question.
Yeah,
Kerry has asked, will the audiobook read the image part too?
No, unless if I've OCR'd it, if I've drawn around it, it will, and because it's automatically going to add alt tags to that. If I haven't done that OCR bit first, it doesn't do that. It will only take the text that I select.
Great. Thanks.
Okay.
And yeah, she said thank you. So I think that's
no problem. So I'm going to go down and still think about text to speech for a second. Okay. And if I start to type here, okay, I'll start to type it. Okay. The first few letters of my answer here. And if I press the space bar, you'll hear, you maybe just can't quite hear that coming through on the audio in the way that Zoom is working, but I have speak as I type set up, which means that it's going to read back each of these words. And as I press the space button, it's going to read that back. So that's speak on each word. So it's going to tell me if I've made perhaps an error in the spelling or in the layout or in the context of that word. I could also set it to read back a sentence. So it'll wait until I put a period or a full stop at the end. Then it'll just read back the sentence. I can try and compute if that sentence makes sense or is in context or is accurate or has spelling mistakes in it by listening to the sentence before I move on to the other sentence. And of course, then make the corrections within that. There are other things I can do for typing. If I flick on my prediction, okay, and I start to type here, okay, I'll get a prediction bank on my screen. And what I can do here is I need to know what the word is. And I can hover over each of the words that are on that prediction bank. And at this stage, it's going to suggest the words, okay? So you'll see also that because I've left the picture dictionary and the dictionary up, it's going to move through those to give me some additional understanding. Okay, so I'm going to say definitely is, and the next letter I want. So what? So it's going to suggest that the word is, and I'm going to suggest a. That's definitely it, and I'll say beautiful. Is that the word?
Beautiful. Believe. Beautiful.
So I can start to click through and build sentence construction, having it read out loud, having a picture reference to know that it is the right word as I go. So I now have access to the prediction tool there. I'm going to turn that just off for a second. And I'm going to go here. And what I'm going to do is close this down. Because there are other ways that I can express myself in terms of literacy, because I have dictation here too. Transylvania is a beautiful country with rolling hills and mountains, and it's green everywhere. Now, I haven't trained that dictation piece at all. I haven't went through lessons. I've literally opened Read and Write and started recording it. So by pressing that typing button, I now have the ability to dictate rather than type. Now, it's not going to use prediction that you saw earlier because that's confined to typing. But if I want, as a student, to be able to dictate, I've got a powerful dictation tool there, and that dictation tool can carry forward into exams as well. So this will give me the ability to dictate as I go also rather than type. Now, let's say I have answered these questions, right? Well, maybe the first thing I need to do is to help me with this is I need to play this back.
How would you describe the character of Harker?
Make sure I understand the question, okay? So I'm going to pause that, and then I'm going to go, and this is the answer that I've either dictated or written down. I'll choose to play that back as well.
Harker is an earnest young solicitor who's eager to return from work trip.
And I could decide whether that is in context, whether that makes sense, whether that answers the question. So text-to-speech can be used beyond just the comprehension piece, and we promote it to be able to check work as we go. But there's other ways we can check some work, and we can use things like check it here. You may not see too many mistakes on this document as we go, but you'll see here that check it now starts to outline spelling, punctuation, and grammar errors. But it will also pick the phonetic ones. So if physics is spelt with an F and it's spelt with an X, we'll pick that up, which most spelling and grammar checkers won't actually do. We'll also get some recommendations based on this as well. And we'll also get a tool that explains why. So this is not like Grammarly where it'll just give the fix. It'll also help explain, and it'll give access to text-to-speech to play back those explanations so we can get an explanation of what we've written there also. So that's just some tools with regards to reading and writing. What other things could we use on this? Some stuff that we've seen before. What about removing distractions? So we've got a screen mask. So this screen mask here, we can start to set so we can introduce focus onto the page. But we can change this in many different ways. So let's say actually we need a yellow. Okay, so we can change that, and we can change that to the optical reference there as well, or to a hex code, depending on the individual student. But we can also change the size of the line here. So if we want to use this as a ruler, or we want to use this as one line at a time, we can indeed do that. So I'll press OK. And as I'm pacing down through each line at a time, I can simply drag the mouse or use the arrows, and I can drag down through each of those. If I want a full screen mask, I can do that. Or what I could even do is I could go here and I could move the background to a solid color so I can focus on questions and answer sessions here as well. So I could do that really, really easily. So gone are the acetates, and this will give me the ability to layer over a web page or over a document or a Word document. I've got screen mask there. So moving on beyond that, so a couple of very quick things we could do. So see if I go down to this answer, all the way down the bottom of the page again here. Okay, and down to this answer, and I actually, in fact, let's go back up to the piece itself. So we're reading through this piece, and I need to add some notes to this. Now you'll all be familiar in Google or in Microsoft Word, you can add a comment, okay? Nothing new there. What we can add here is a voice comment. So I could say, Jonathan Harker is the key character from Bram Stoker Dracula. He is the person who first encounters Count Dracula. Now I've recorded my voice. I can do that for 60 seconds. And right here, I have now inserted that as a voice comment or voice note. So next time I come back to this piece, I can just hit play. Jonathan Harker is the key character from Bram Stoker. So I can use this as a student to articulate and explain my own understanding as I go through a document. I can leave as many of these as I want. If I'm a teacher or a lecturer and I want to provide some feedback to a student for their written work, I could add the comment and add the voice note. If I want to add in some pronunciation so I can model some text within there, as a teacher, I could record my voice and I could explain that back. And all the student or pupil has to do is press that play button. It's just a play button that will come up on the screen. Now I'll get rid of that just to keep this document clean for us today. So some last things. Imagine I'm a student and I need to pull out some core parts of this document, okay? I need to simplify it a little bit for myself. What could I do? Well, I could go here and I could say, I know that's an important piece. I've read through it. I know that's important. I've read through it. I know that's important. I've got 4 different digital highlighters here. I've read through and I know this bit is important here as well. So now I've highlighted the key bits in this document. What's useful is I need to pull those out of that and give me a kind of a study reference guide. Maybe it's a bit of revision. Maybe it's to help me start to write a piece on my own based on what I've learned from this comprehension piece. So what I can do is just go right up here, press collect highlights, press OK, and it goes out. If you're in Google, it'll go out and it'll produce a brand new Google document with just the highlighters that I've pulled out of that document. If you're in Microsoft Word, it'll go out and it'll pull in a brand new Microsoft Word document, and it'll give me the reference back to the source material. I can also do this from a web page as well. So that's one way we could use that particular tool. But what I want to do is I want to clear all those off. I don't need those anymore. So I'm going to clear those, okay? And I'm going to actually start to pick some words on here. So let me start to pick some words and I'll highlight just words. So rather than passages, we'll highlight words, okay? So some pretty obvious ones right here, okay? So we'll do this and we'll go for Romania, right? So there's perhaps new words to me I haven't come across before. I need to have a vocabulary reference for those. So I can go here and I can press vocabulary. And now the new Google document, the new Word document is automatically created for me. And what I have on that is the word that I've pulled out. So now I have a word mat, or could be a revision mat. It could be a vocabulary mat. It could be a guide on any new words that I've come across. If I'm learning through the meaning of English, and it's not my first language, I could pull out new words that have come across. But this is going to give me the word that I selected, the dictionary definition, and the picture reference off that straight away, automatically in a table, and it's automatically saved obviously as well. So I've lots of ways that I can help reading, writing, and literacy support in general within Read and Write. There's many other ways. So we've got about 10 minutes left, and we'll go for the two last pieces of this and how you might use it further. So I'm going to go to a web page. I'm going to move away from a Google document, and I'm going to go to a web page. So let me go to this web page, just a weather web page. And what you can see there is now I have the Read and Write toolbar, the purple puzzle piece appeared. So now I have it at the top of the screen. Okay, so that's great. I have all of the tools I might need. So if I want text to speech, I can flick my hover speech on, and now I can click anywhere, and now I can have that read out loud.
Geography of the Arctic.
Okay, so I have dual highlighting. Everything I had in a document or a Word document, I have it. If I'm answering a question on a web form, I can have access to those prediction tools or those read back tools to help me so it's consistent. If I want to turn this into an audiobook, at this stage, I can select all the words on the page. I can click the audiobook, and now I have that read out loud. If I need my screen mask, I can have that the same as I had before. If I want to do my highlighting, it's exactly the same on a web page. So I can go through and I can narrow the reading down on this, and I can create a set of notes directly from this web page. So I can simplify that text really easily. So all the things that I have everywhere else, I have on web pages. But I have two unique features that I have on web pages that can be very useful to me, particularly from an accessibility point of view. So I'm going to delete those, and I'm going to go to this button here, maybe a button you haven't seen before, Simplify Page. So I'm going to press Simplify Page. So look at the screen you have on right now. Look at the diagrams, look at all of those things on the screen. And if I press Simplify Page, so I have the ability to pull out all of the miscellaneous content from that. I could have chosen to leave the diagrams in. In this case, I've chosen not to. But what I can do here is I can have some more focused text on screen. And I can do a couple of things from an accessibility point of view. Of course, I still have Read and Write, so I can have it read out loud if I want. But I can simplify the text. So I can actually reduce the level on that page in terms of the complexity of the reading. Now, it won't change the vocabulary. It changes the complexity of the actual reading level itself to make sure we have less reading to do, and we can get the outcomes that we need. So I can simplify that reading. I can also change the contrast. I could also change, for example, the font. So if I have, say, a visual impairment, I can change the font really easily. I can also change the font to Lexend as well, so a more dyslexic friendly font. And of course, I can change the spacing of that as well. So in terms of taking a web page, keeping it in context, simplifying it, increasing the accessibility, all I need to do is on any web page, click that Simplify button, and that will give me the ability to simplify that page. One click, and I have all of the tools I might need. And don't forget, I still have all the Read and Write tools there that I had before. So all of those are there. Now, I'm going to go back to this page. I'm going to show you the last button that's there. And this is an interesting one that not many people know about. And this is to help practice reading aloud. So to help improve oral fluency, how could we do it? We could give a student this page, and we could actually ask them to practice reading it aloud. So I can click one button on the toolbar. It'll strip off adverts and miscellaneous context and menus from that. It'll keep the diagrams to keep us in context. And it'll ask me as a student to practice my fluency, my oral fluency, to read that aloud. So I can have this modeled because, of course, I can pick up my text to speech and I can have that read aloud.
Geography of the Arctic leads to unique weather.
Okay, so that's fine. So I've got my support tools that help me, but I could go here and start recording. The unique geography of the Arctic leads to unique weather patterns that reappear in the region year after year. So now I can listen to that back. The unique geography of the Arctic leads to unique weather patterns that read. So I'm happy. I've nailed that reading out loud. That sounds fluent to me. Didn't have any hesitations in that. I'm going to send that back to my teacher. So I can press send to teacher. It'll take my recording. It'll send it back. Lovely to get a bit of feedback on that in terms of my improvement on there. This is to be fair, this is very, very heavily used at primary level and not that much beyond that. But nevertheless, it's a good feature to have to encourage students to actually read aloud and listen to themselves reading back on that rather than necessarily sending it back to a teacher or lecturer. So that's simplify. So the last thing that we're going to go through here, I'm just going to come out of that web page. And I'm going to take the same features. So remember, consistency is really important. I'm going to take the same features and I'm going to show you it in Orbit Note. So here is at this stage a GCSE textbook, a heavy textbook on the history of medicine. Okay, so it's quite heavy. It's not necessarily that accessible. But if I go down to the first page of this, the tools that we have in Read and Write that can help us understand, can help us listen to text are there. So I can click to speak and I can just click anywhere.
Medical understanding of what caused disease C1848 was based on ideas that made.
So I now have dual highlighting, text to speech, all the features I need, but I've also got, if I switch that off, I've also got something like this. So I'll go body. Okay, so there's a word I want some help with. I've still got my dictionary. I've still got my dictionary definition right here and my picture reference too. So all the tools that I had in other places that I needed or could have done with literacy support are there. The screenshot reader is there. So we can draw over any diagrams that are not accessible and have it read out loud. Okay, the one thing we don't have is the audiobook maker within this because of the complexities of PDFs. It makes it a challenge to do. So we do also have these highlighter tools. So think about this, prepping, we're studying. So here we go. We want that in blue. We want this in yellow. And again, all we would have to do here is we'd have to press the collect highlights button. It's going to take those sentences out from the PDF. It's going to put them in a brand new document for me. So I have reduced notes. So really useful to start writing an essay, to have reduced notes, to pull out revision notes there as well. So I'm going to clear those out and show you just very quickly some other things I could do. I could add some notes to this. Okay, so I could say, I know that this sentence, I need to explain that to me a little bit more. So I can click the comment. Again, we're all used to the comment features within Google and Microsoft, but I can leave a voice note. So right here, I can start to say, clearly they observed illness and saw that sometimes people became hot and flustered. I could explain that in my own words and add that voice note directly in there. Okay, so I have the ability to add a voice note, but I also have the ability to type. And I can type using the prediction tool that you saw earlier, help me with sentence construction. I can type using my voice just by speaking and dictating, and I can have all of my comments played back. So I can have it played back. I can also put in images and pictures and notes. So I can remove distractions in terms of liner notes from my PDF really, really easily. Okay, so I'm just going to cancel that piece out and I can place this anywhere I need to on screen. There are other things that I can do there for study. I can have my push pin, and my push pin will let me type in or dictate or use prediction or use text to speech, so fully accessible notes. Okay, and I'll just place that on the screen. But here's what happens. Just that little tiny red pin appears. So I know that I've made a note there that perhaps could give me a prompt or a helpful guide or explain something to me in this very complicated PDF, and I can click it and I can have it read out loud. Okay, that's not going to read that out loud very well, obviously, but I now have that, and of course I can change the font size and I can make that as large or small as I want, change the spacing on that also. So I can add notes to this, and also of course what I can do finally on this is I have the ability to highlight key points of this page. So what I could do is I can type really easily. So I can type on screen right there. I could also pick up my pen tool and I could start to draw and annotate directly over the top of that PDF. So I now have ways that can help me explore that content really, really easily. So that's Orbit Note. And that, just think about that as the power of Read and Write, but on PDFs and also with additional accessibility features that can help me study a little bit better and explain my learning or my notes in many, many different accessible ways. Anything you might need to do on a PDF, it's there for you to do. And what you won't see in Read and Write earlier, just a very small thing, we've now introduced dark and light mode to all of our toolbars just to help with contrast. So those are the 3 areas that we wanted to cover today. 2 last things to mention. Don't forget that the features that you saw there are available in exams. Under JCQ regulations, we literally pull a big lever for students, and only text-to-speech and screen mask that you saw and the ability to play things back are there within exam mode. So when I flip exam mode on, which you'll see just on the screen right now, through a password or for central IT, only the features that are permitted under JCQ requirements are enabled. This means that if our students are using Read and Write as their normal way of working throughout the year to help support them with literacy, they will still have access to those tools, including dictation now at exam time. The same tools are available on an EPUB. So if there's an EPUB or there's a Kindle book available, students can still get access to those helpful tools, certainly with regards to reading and comprehension, like the dictionary and picture dictionary. So I'll put a link up, and hopefully Neil can share this with you after today. There's a link there. You can email me directly for that, or I'll pass it on to Neil to circulate to those that have registered for today. But we've put together 2 wakelets, and wakelets are just collections online of helpful videos and tools that you can use to explore all of those tools that you saw today. So you can interactively point students to them and say, look, have a look at Read and Write, or but note this is how it can help. Those are all fully accessible. There's videos, there's ThingLink virtual tours, there's cheat sheets and helpful guides, all on just one single web page that we've put together. It's a more informal way to give you resources. So you can email me with that request. Just put the word demo in it to edtech@texthelp.com. Or of course, hopefully Neil will share those details with you to the registrants. And that is me just about, Neil, I think, finished up in record time in there for Read and Write today. By all means, reach out to me. All of you listening are registered or watching this offline, just do drop me an email. I'll be more than happy to help you with any resources you might need for Read and Write, or but note on the web, on PDF, or on any of the environments that we talked about. But the important thing is, think of it as literacy central. Think of it as suitable for all of the students that you may work with, no matter what their level is. And there is something there genuinely for everybody. We just need to make them aware of it and get them started with it. So Neil, thank you.
Great, thank you. We always set a challenge, don't we, with these webinars to pack it in, and you covered an awful lot there. I was taking some notes. There's some really good new features on there. I love the simplifying the web page as well. That's until now I've helped people install a separate extension on Chrome to do that. So it's good that that's built in now. It's a really good feature to have at people's fingertips. We've got a question from Kerry. She says, good news regarding exams. How do we request this through our exams officer? At present, we list reasonable adjustments. Does it come under this?
No. So there's 2 different approaches. Used as only a computer reader, that comes under reasonable adjustments. So there's no forms to fill in. You just keep the record and the student record on file. So that doesn't have to be formally requested. When you move to dictation and effectively replacing a human scribe with the tool, you do have to go through the speech recognition forms and complete a Form 9 for that. So that does have to be requested. We have a document, Neil, that is a really good FAQ on that. So my student needs a computer reader. You don't have to do anything apart from this. And here's a sample of what records you would have to hold. My student needs both. Here's the requirements. And I should say, and this has been a big sea change for those of you thinking about exams requirements, the old school approach from a JCQ perspective was you couldn't have a device online for exams. You can have a device online as long as it's limited to just the support services. And that means that a dictation tool like it's built into Read and Write now is fully approved and ready and under JCQ guidelines. And we quote those guidelines on those documents. but it does mean that your student has no learning to do. They can do what I just did there, which is press the button and start recording. Hopefully, obviously, it's their normal way of working, but they don't have to train the device pre-exam or be nervous about what the scribe, the virtual scribe, might do. So yeah, we can send those details out, Gary, and anybody else who might need them. No problem.
Wow, that's massive. The online rule from JCQ limited so much of the dictation tools. So that means that so earlier you showed us using Google voice typing, the one built into Google. Would that be allowed in exams then? Is that
the Google one's different? You've still got to obviously got to maintain the integrity of the exam. And the only thing that will do that at the minute is Read and Write for Windows, because you have literally as I said earlier, the big lever, you pull it down and everything gets locked down and the students can't change anything. So you do still need that. The importance from a JCQ perspective, obviously, is to maintain the integrity of the exam. So everything else has to be turned off. And so we have then a way of doing that on the exam device. Okay,
great. So what engine do you use for that dictation?
That's part internal and part Microsoft services.
Okay, great. That's good. It should be good quality then if it's using the Microsoft one. So
yeah, we have a couple of online videos just to show that happening, and it is really, really super. Think more dictation in the way that we've all become accustomed to dictation on our phones, or say with the Google talking type there, rather than the old school, voice typing, which got a bit clunky and had too many mistakes for us to worry about, and you had to train it for an hour beforehand. So it's much closer to dictation now than it is to the old school voice typing, which is great for students.
Great, thanks. So if anyone's watching this and wants to get started with Read and Write, what's the first thing they need to do? And I suppose it might be different if they're using Google Docs or Microsoft Office.
Yeah, so if you go to best way, you can go, and if you're looking at it from a Chrome perspective, just search for Read and Write on the Chrome store, and you can install the extension straight away, and you'll get 30 days to use it. But the fastest way to get it is just to go to texthelp.com, go to the Read and Write webpage, and right at the top it'll say try now. And it'll just let you go, oh, I'm on a Mac, I'm on a PC, I'm on Google Chrome, I'm on an iPad, and it'll take you to the right install. Read and Write is free for teachers. So if you're a teacher and you have an email address as a teacher, you can get access to that just by filling in a quick form. If you're looking at it for all your students, by all means, reach out on that email address and we can get you set up with a longer term evaluation or trial of any of those tools that you've seen.
Great, thank you. Yeah, I'd be interested if everyone attending, if you know what to do next. If you don't, then feel free to ask. And if anyone has any other questions, then just let us know. My other question is there a time that you'd recommend a learner using the desktop toolbar version of Read and Write over the online toolbar? When would that happen?
Sorry, I'm not with you on the questioning.
Oh, sorry. So there's the desktop version of Read and Write, and then there's obviously the kind of the plug-in version for Google Docs.
Yeah.
Is there a time that you'd recommend a learner using the desktop toolbar version over the online one? Is there any kind of features there that are available in one, not the other?
No, because things like dictation and stuff that were exclusively Google before, we've brought them very, very, very much in line. So they're incredibly close now. So all of the tools that I showed there today are all available in the desktop version. And it is, the phrase, I suppose, horses for courses, we've got to be able to provide the support in whatever the student is familiar with. And we all know we have students that sit there on Word, and that's their thing. That's what they've spent their entire academic career working on. And of course, we don't want to change course with them. My advice always is, if you're a Word user, start with the desktop version, but also install Chrome, because we're all moving so fast between typing a document and jumping in for a bit of research on the web as we type or create or write. So it's best to have both versions there, but obviously wherever your primary mode to read and write is, install it there first.
Great, those are really useful answers, and yeah, really helpful for me as well to know, because over the last few years, I suppose it's been really good to see the functionality of the online version gaining and kind of coming up to a par with the desktop. So yeah, that's very powerful. Great. Does anyone have any other questions at all? For a minute, and thank you very much, Paddy. That was fantastic. If there's elements of this that I think we could pull out and make webinar shorts, are you happy for us to do that?
Absolutely, yeah. Use the content anyway that suits users. Yeah, absolutely.
Great, thank you. Come to the end of the webinar. Let me know if you've got any other questions. I'll send out these slides and we'll upload the video recording of this onto YouTube. If you've got any questions in the meantime, you can contact us techability@natspec.org.uk or follow us at tech_ability1. And thanks, Paddy. Another fantastic webinar.
Thank you. Much appreciated, everybody, for joining us. And again, as always, Neil, thanks for the opportunity.